Hello everyone, I hope you guys are all having a fabulous Wednesday. Today I have a video dedicated to Ban Island. What it is, some of the tricks that I have learned to try to stay on Ban Island, and just some of the things that I have learned over the years. This is a huge thank you to my very good friend Chris on Instagram, who really planted the seed for me to think about doing a video like this. And I also discussed this briefly on Minx Monday Q&A, and I asked if this is a topic that would interest you, and quite a few of you said yes. So I wrote down, I have a ton of notes. I want to be as thorough as possible, and hopefully I can help you out, and in the same sense I can help myself out and take my own advice, because I just did an unboxing yesterday, so I just want to give you guys my opinion, my 2 cents on what works out for me, or what I have learned to work for my lifestyle throughout the years. So let's get started, shall we? And I get a lot of people that ask me what it is, like what is Ban Island or a bag ban, because a lot of us here in the Luxe community end up throwing that phrase around. And I will go into the details of what it is, the distractions. I have so many different little segments that I want to just touch base on, so I will try my hardest to cover as much as possible. So what exactly is Ban Island? It is when someone prohibits themselves from buying a new handbag or buying new items because they either recently spent too much money or they are saving up for a special item or for a special trip. I send myself to Ban Island when my money tree is completely bare and I need the leaves to grow back, aka I need to save more money. And I also wanted to ask, I asked Robert what his thoughts are on Ban Island, because as most of you know, Robert, who is my husband, he doesn't have any luxury goods whatsoever. We are very night and day when it comes to this topic. So I just wanted to hear his thoughts, and he said, and I quote, "Ban Island is a mythical place where dreams don't come true." I started laughing because he even understands it, even though he's not a luxe lover himself. So I thought that was pretty awesome. I've said it before, I feel that Ban Island and a wish list go hand in hand. And for those of you that don't know, a wish list is exactly what the name states. It's a list of items that you'd wish to have in your collection at some point in time. People add items to wish lists very differently. Some people add them randomly, so there's really no specific order. I myself end up putting them in a top priority. So the top priority one is usually my holy grail, and sometimes it ends up being the most expensive one, and then I go from there. So the one that I have my eye on the most is number 1, number 2, and etc. So that's how I end up kind of organizing it myself. As I mentioned, having a wish list definitely has its benefits. I feel that there are 3 key factors that I tend to go back to, and I feel that that really ensures my way of thinking whenever I am on Ban Island. Number 1, I feel that having a wish list is a great way to stay organized and stay focused for the items that you want to add to your collection. It's kind of like having blinders on. And it's going to sound silly, but with the constant distractions, with the constant items coming about, and I will get into distractions in just a second because I have a whole topic on that, but it's like having blinders on and keeping your eyes on the prize. So to me, I feel that that really ends up helping out. It's a reminder that, okay, this is what you're going for. This is what you're going for. You know, you don't want to get distracted with this item for now. Yeah, you have to keep your eyes on the prize. At least I feel that way. Number 2, there are no rules, there are no limits when it comes to the wish list. You can add absolutely anything you want to it. It can be a car, it can be a bracelet, it could be a trip, it could be anything. It could be a vintage piece, a pre-loved piece, it could be absolutely anything. It is your wish list, your rules. So it doesn't, like I said, everyone interprets wish lists differently, but for me, I feel that it is whatever my heart desires. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to get it, but at the time, it's something that I am wishing for. And the third, I feel that this is the most important. I feel that by having a wish list, it allows you to research the item thoroughly. And the reason I say that is because whenever I don't end up researching something, I end up running into buyer's remorse, and that's another subject that I want to discuss. But it really allows me to research the item to see if it ends up suiting my lifestyle. And sometimes whenever you whenever you do research these items, you end up finding things out that maybe you didn't think of initially when you put them on the wish list. So sometimes items might end up leaving the list. Sometimes they end up going higher up on the list for top priority. So I really, really absolutely love the third reason because of the research. And I've kind of discussed this before in other videos. Back then when I first started into the whole buying luxury goods, I was kind of just buying because I wanted to, not necessarily because it suited my lifestyle. So now I feel that I am a lot more, I'm a lot more cautious as to what I add to my collection, because I don't want to have, I don't want to second guess anything, and I just want to feel comfortable about what it is that I am purchasing. Moving on to constant distractions. I'm not gonna lie, it's tough out there. The struggle is real, or as someone so kindly put it in one of my previous videos, hashtag first world problems. It's not a first world problem. I understand that. But I feel that a lot of people in this community can appreciate and can relate to what I'm about to discuss. So when it comes to distractions, I feel that when I am on Ban Island, I feel that items literally come out of nowhere. New collections that have just they look so shiny, so beautiful, so sparkly. And I feel that when I'm not on Ban Island and I'm kind of browsing around for new shoes or for a new handbag or for a new wallet, nothing really ends up catching my eye. Yes, they are beautiful and I can appreciate them, but not to the point where I want to add them to my collection. But on the island, everything just looks so much better. And I will admit, sometimes I feel that because I am on such a tight restriction, that the items that I normally wouldn't appreciate or the items that I normally wouldn't find attractive end up having some type of an allure to them. I don't know, maybe it's just me. But they feel like, for example, if it's crushed velvet, I'm not really a big fan of crushed velvet, but if I see something, I'm like, ooh, that's really nice. But I think it's, again, because I am prohibited from buying anything new. Like, maybe it's just me and my crazy thoughts. Are you guys like that? And I have to admit, two of the biggest culprits that I feel add to the distractions, and I am part of these platforms, are Instagram and YouTube. I have to say that. Hashtag YouTube made me do it. Hashtag Instagram made me do it. How many times do we see that on a post? But I mean, even though it is a great way to be able to see new items coming out, from new collections, or people end up getting pictures from their sales associates saying, hey, we're getting this in. So it's a great way to get information, don't get me wrong, but it is a distraction nonetheless. Or you end up seeing unboxings on YouTube. Sometimes I feel that the ones that really get me, that end up adding to my wish list, which by the way is a million years long, are what's in my bag videos. I love what's in my bag videos. I don't know why. I think a lot of us here in the community end up agreeing that those are some of our favorite videos. And sometimes I'll see someone pull something out of their bag. I'm just like, oh, that's nice. What is that? Then I go to research it. Then I add it to my wish list. So the distractions are there. So again, I love YouTube. I am part of YouTube. I love Instagram. I'm part of Instagram, but they are distractions. So I just had to throw that out there. And the last distraction that I really wanted to discuss is something that I myself was very guilty of way back when, but those are brand sales. And those are, when a department store is having a sale, or sometimes Chanel has seasonal sales. Some people have said that Hermes does as well. I know Louis Vuitton doesn't because they never go on sale. Sounds like I'm bitter, but it would be nice if they had a sale once in a while. I don't know. But brand sales, I feel that I myself can justify anything, absolutely anything. And it's funny because when it comes to these sales, when it comes to these items, I don't really look at how much I'm spending. I tend to say, ooh, look at how much I'm saving. That's the type of person I used to be. So whenever we'd go to a department store, whenever we'd go to a boutique, if something was on sale, if I was with a friend, with my mom, or with my husband, or with whoever, I'll say, ooh, this is a really nice bag, even though it technically wasn't my style, because a lot of you know I tend to go for neutrals. I tend to go for classic handbags. So I'd end up going for a handbag that was definitely not my style. And whoever I was with would say, but do you really like that? It's nice. It's really pretty. It's a great, it adds variety to my collection. I always say it adds variety. I felt that was the like the $1 million word that I would end up using. It adds variety. And I know I say that on my videos, but in this instance, it's because I was trying to justify the bag. So let me, I keep getting off track. So I would turn to the person that I was with and say, yeah, it's, you know, it's this beautiful bag. It retails for $3,500, $2,500, and I'm saving this much money. It was more so about what I was saving, not the point that I was spending $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 on a bag that wasn't my style. So that was my biggest distraction. That was something that I was very guilty of. And what comes to mind is what one of my very good friends, Sam Snape HBP, she said it on a post last year. It's kind of like ordering from Sephora. I believe it's $50 to get free shipping. Let's say that you're at $40. You have to spend $10 to get the free shipping, right? But you don't want to spend the $5.99 that it would be to get shipping if you're at the $40 mark. You know what I mean? So you justify spending $10 more to get the free shipping, but you just, like I myself, I'll say it, I can't be bothered to spend to spend the extra $5. I don't know why I think that way. I think some people out there think the same way that I do, but it boggles my mind that I have that type of reasoning, because it doesn't make sense. At least it doesn't make sense to me. I'm spending more money to get something, I'm spending more money to get free shipping, or I'm spending this much money on a bag that isn't part of what I would ever add to my collection. So I thought I would kind of discuss that in a little bit more detail so you guys have a better understanding of what goes on in my crazy ass head. Now I want to discuss buyer's remorse, because I feel that when the distractions end up winning, buyer's remorse has a tendency to kick in. I did a full-on dedicated video to buyer's remorse, and I will try my hardest to remember to put it on the description box below or put it somewhere on the toolbar above, so that way if you guys want to, you can check it out as well. Especially because I feel that buyer's remorse is something that not too many people end up discussing in the Luxe community, myself included. We end up raving about an item, and sometimes the items don't end up working out, or they don't end up suiting your lifestyle. So I think it's also important to give that type of feedback. That way someone can make a full-on decision. They have both sides of the story, and they can end up deciding if the item works out for them. So I just thought I would also mention buyer's remorse. So as I mentioned, sometimes the distractions do end up winning. You end up walking out of the boutique, you end up walking out of the store with this giant bag, you put it in your trunk, and you're thinking, I can explain. How many times has this happened to you? I know it's happened to me before. However, doing this, it ends up putting the items on your wish list further away, and I can only speak for myself, it ends up making me second guess the item that I'm purchasing. Kind of like what I touched base on earlier in the video. I said that the second guesses start to come. The buyer's remorse starts to kind of kick in. And that's why I am so adamant about what I end up adding to my collection now, because in the beginning, I ended up just buying bags because I was saving money, or because I liked the idea of it, I liked this, I liked that, but it didn't really end up suiting my lifestyle, so the buyer's remorse was definitely there. But I have to say that, whenever the wish list ends up going farther and farther away, you end up feeling a little bit worse about the item maybe that you ended up just purchasing, and it doesn't have the same, it doesn't end up bringing you the same joy as it did in the boutique under the beautiful sparkling shining lights. So again, the second guessing starts to happen. So that's what kind of runs through my mind with buyer's remorse. Especially if you have your eyes on the prize, especially if you have a wish list and the distraction ends up winning, you start to feel bad about the item. That's not always the case, so don't quote me on that. I know everyone is different, but that's just some of the things that have happened to me in the past. So a buyer's remorse is not fun, and especially when you're so happy about the item when you're at the boutique, as I mentioned. You look at it under the lights, everything's peachy keen. I feel like everything's sunshine and rainbows at the boutique. Nothing could go wrong. But then the minute you walk out of there and you start thinking about that wish list, and then you start thinking, this is money that could have gone towards that Holy Grail. This is money that could have gone towards that Birkin, towards that Jumbo, towards that Speedy, or whatever it is that you have your eye on. That's when I feel that, the same sensation, if you will, isn't the same with the item that you have in your hand. So again, these are just my 2 cents. I had to turn on the other light because it is really dark outside, and I usually tend to go for natural lighting, but that's why it changed so drastically. So now that we've covered what it is and the distractions, how exactly do you stay on track? I myself need to take my advice. I know, especially with the unboxing that I just did yesterday, but I still feel that I'm pretty good because I didn't go crazy. But there are a few questions that I end up asking myself whenever I am at the boutique and I see an item. Some of you might think it's absolutely ridiculous that I have to remind myself or that I have to ask myself questions, but the way that I feel is that if I'm going to spend this amount of money on a handbag, on a pair of shoes, on a bracelet, or whatever it is, I want to feel 100% comfortable about my item. I don't want to second guess the purchase, and I don't want to have buyer's remorse. And I want to make sure that it's something that ultimately ends up suiting my lifestyle, as I've said in other videos. So the following questions are the ones that I end up asking myself, and I truly feel that it ends up helping. The first one is, why do I want it? Number 2, is it on my wish list? Number 3, have I researched it? Number 4, am I looking at it because of a recent post or video? And number 5, do I like the idea of it? Do I like the color of it more than it will end up suiting my lifestyle? The only question I never ask myself is, do I need it? And the reason that is because the answer will always be no. No one needs 20 bags. You want 20 bags, and there is a huge difference. So I never ask myself because, like I said, the answer will always end up being no. Just because you're on Ban Island doesn't mean that you have to completely stop going into the shops or going into the boutique and checking things out. Not at all. Sometimes the distractions will end up proving to be too much to pass up, and that's okay. But I also have another tip that might end up helping you guys out for when you see a beauty that ends up stopping you in your tracks. So I'm going to use myself as an example. Actually, this ended up happening to me a few months back, and hopefully I can help you out as well. So usually when I end up going shopping, if I end up going to, say, South Coast Plaza, I usually end up parking by Saks Fifth Avenue or by Bloomingdale's. And usually I end up going through the handbag department. And it always happens to me. It happens more than I care to admit. But I will walk through there and I will see a bag that literally just stops me dead in my tracks. And I will just say, oh my gosh, that bag is beautiful. I love it, blah, blah, blah. I start kind of like drooling all over it, if you will. But I look over the details and then I end up stepping back. I run that, those 5 questions through my head, and I put it back and I walk away. And I go about doing my business. But 99% of the time that I end up doing this, I won't remember about the bag until I am on my way home, I'm in the car, and then I'll turn to whoever I'm with and say, oh, what about that bag? I completely forgot about it. And that lets me know that the bag was just a distraction. It was just eye candy, and I can appreciate the bag. But I think I liked the idea of it more, or I liked the color of it more than actually wanting to add it to my collection. Because if I wanted to add it to my collection, I would be continuously thinking about it while I was shopping. I would keep referencing it back, or I would have gone back to purchase the item. So when I end up forgetting, it's because I feel that it would just be, it might be a bag that I might have buyer's remorse on. It might be a bag that wouldn't end up suiting my lifestyle in the long run. And maybe that was a way of like my gut instinct kind of kicking in. Who knows? But I feel that this has really helped me out. And sometimes when I'm out with Robert, he'll say, oh, just leave it there. Go back to it. Or, we parked this way, we can come back through there. And sometimes that'll even happen. I will completely forget about the item because I'm so focused on something else, or we're having a conversation. And again, I feel like it was just a distraction, and it ends up taking me away from, from keeping my eyes on the prize from what I have on my wish list. So maybe it ends up helping you guys out. Are you guys like that as well? But I am so thankful that he also ends up helping me out that way, because, I don't have the funds to end up buying everything I want, everything I see. There's just no possible way. I'm not a millionaire. And for me to just say, oh, I want this, I want this, I want this, it would have to be really annoying. If I was shopping with myself and I heard myself say it all the time, it would just drive me crazy. So who knows? But hopefully that ends up helping you guys as well, if you're kind of like me, when you see something that just stops you and you're just thinking, I want to add this to my collection. So instead of going straight for the checkout, I end up walking away and it ends up not, I guess it ends up not being great enough for me to remember to go back and buy. So when is it time to swim ashore? When I feel it's time to swim ashore, obviously it's when you've either saved up the money for the item that you've been wanting, or really I feel that when there are limited edition pieces, or when there are color combinations that you have been wanting for quite some time, then I feel that it's okay to swim to shore, obviously, because I feel that sometimes with the limited edition pieces, it's one of those things that if you really like it, and let's say that you saw it the first time, you fell in love with it, the second, the third time, the fourth time, you're still thinking about it, then obviously it's something that ends up making your heart sing. And if you end up passing on it, then you might end up having remorse because you didn't add it. And especially with the limited edition collections, the colors, or the prints, it's a lot harder to find them later on because they're sold out, or if you do try to buy them on the pre-loved market when they are available, they end up being a lot more money than they were initially at the store or at the boutique. So that's when I feel that you kind of have to, it's kind of like a gray area, but you have to really weigh in on how much you like that limited edition piece, or how much you love that color combination. Kind of like with me, I thought I was doing really well, you know, on Van Island, and when I saw the pink caviar, you know, the boy O-zip coin purse with the pale gold hardware, I love that combination. I have been wanting to get a pink caviar wallet, you know, and I already have the small zip, but I wanted it in the O-zip coin purse. So I jumped on it because I know that if I would have waited maybe 2 months, 3 months, or when I was completely off Van Island, I wouldn't be able to find it, because I feel that a lot of people will end up, you know, getting that item because of the color or because of the combination. Same thing with the earrings or with any type of Chanel jewelry. Sometimes I feel that ends up happening because they are seasonal pieces. So like I said before, it's something that you really have to think twice about how much you like it. And because I knew that I sincerely like both of those items so much, that's why I decided to swim offshore, or swim off the island, and kind of just to end up going for it. But I will be honest with you guys, I need to take my own advice. I am horrible, absolutely horrible on Van Island. You know, I feel like I have 1 foot in the sand, and I have 1 foot in the water, kind of waiting to hitch a ride with someone ashore. I know that, you know, and I feel that sometimes talking about it on social media, or end up talking about it on a video, will really end up helping other people, and that way you know that you're not the only one that's refraining from buying something. You're not the only one that's not adding something to your collection. Because I will admit, sometimes when I have saved up so much, you know, when I've saved up money for an item, when I've saved up so long for the item that I've been wanting, it makes that item so much more enjoyable. It makes it so much better. And you know, while it would be great to be able to buy everything that my heart desires, as I mentioned before, it's not something that's in the cards for me. I can't do that. I have too many other responsibilities that I have to take care of. And there are people that can do that, and I applaud them, and I think that is awesome. And kudos to people that you know, don't have to bat an eyelash when it comes to buying luxury goods every single day. I have to take my time, I have to research, and I have to really think carefully about what it is that I want to add to my collection, because of what I mentioned earlier, the buyer's remorse or second guessing. I don't want to have any of that. I want to feel very comfortable and very really happy with the item that I end up buying. And I will never forget it. I have done unboxings of items that I do like, and I love them, and I use them, but I will never forget the feeling of when I got my Holy Grail Chanel Jumbo. When I did the video, I don't know, it felt like that unboxing was different from other unboxings because it took so long for me to save up for that item. It made it that much sweeter, that much better to enjoy, and I sincerely think that, you know, so hopefully I was able to help, but at the end of the day, it's whatever makes your heart sing. If you absolutely love an item, if you absolutely love a print, a bag, or a bag, you know, jewelry, a car, or whatever it is, you want, you know, listen to your heart and go with your heart's desire. I can tell you honestly, sincerely, that I am not the type of person that I will not go into debt just to buy a handbag. I will not end up putting it, I will not end up saying, oh, you know, I'll pay it off later, I'll pay it off later. You guys know, if you've been watching my channel for a while, I am very mindful of how I spend my money, and I want to make sure that I don't have anything on a credit card. I have discussed where you end up opening up either a Bloomingdale's card, a Neiman's card, or a Saks card because you end up getting points or you end up getting rewards depending on what you end up purchasing. But I do that and then I end up paying that card off because I don't like to have debt. You know, I do love luxe goodies. I love handbags. I love wallets and I love all these things. But as I mentioned, I also have a lot of responsibilities that take my my funds first. And I have always said that, and I will always say that. I need to make sure that the mortgage is paid. I need to make sure that the electricity is paid, that the gas is paid, and all these other things are paid, my insurance, before I can even fathom adding another item to my collection. So again, I applaud people that don't have to think twice about it. Clearly, this video is not for you. You know, but I am just a plain Jane, and I feel that I am just like everyone else, you know, and some people think that I end up adding, you know, so many items constantly into my collection. But I also have talked about having a merry-go-round of items. I'm the type of person that even though I do have a collection, I'm technically not a collector because I end up using all the items that I have behind me. And if I don't use them, I end up putting them up for sale, or I make sure that the funds from that sale end up going into a purchase that I will end up using, because to me, it doesn't make sense to have a bag on the shelf just sitting there looking pretty. I can't afford to do that. And like I said before, I would love to be, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. I love to enjoy the items that I have. So I hope this video was able to help. And like I mentioned in the beginning, these are just my 2 cents. This is just my opinion. Everyone thinks of Wishlist differently. Everyone thinks of Ban Island differently. But that way it gives you guys a glimpse as to how I feel about it and some of the things that I end up doing. And yes, I am back on the island. There are a ton of new items that are coming out. But I'm going to try to be good, and I'm on the island with you guys. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was able to help, and I will see you all next Monday. And as always, make it a fabulous day or not. The choice is yours. Have a great day, you guys.